To be optimistic, what do you think that entrepreneurs should be doing from get-go to be successful?
One of the most important things for an entrepreneur is to be reflective, right? I feel like if you've come from whichever job you've come from that's not entrepreneurial, your entire life you've been told what's right and wrong, right? As a kid, you go through school, you're told what's right and wrong. You go into a job, you're told what's right and wrong. And you sort of figure out the way to be effective in that system, and you're told by other people how to do it. If you're all of a sudden jump into the game of entrepreneurship, you are in the wild, right? You have no one telling you what's right and wrong. The results will tell you whether it's right and wrong. And if you're not extremely reflective personally and as a team around, is we're doing things correct? Are we pitching correctly? Are we managing each other correctly? Managing founder relationships is a huge learning curve. And I think having the ability to be very critical about yourself, make changes, but then go into the next pitch still feeling 100% confident in your vision and your project is one of the most important things for a founder that sort of gets overlooked. Another one I think is resilience. You're going to lose more times than you can imagine as a founder. You're going to get rejected. You're going to have deals that fall through. You're going to have way more bad days than good days. And it's the ability to sacrifice on a hope. There's no guarantees in this game. There's no, if I sacrifice for 2 years, I'm all of a sudden going to make it. People sacrifice their entire lives and don't make it in this game. And it's about being willing to sacrifice on a hope, at least for a certain amount of time.
I think a really important one, and I learned this one, was the ability to pivot and knowing when to pivot. And now I've just come to a standard understanding that you've constantly got to pivot. Literally, I think that's a really hard one for sometimes entrepreneurs, because they start off with a vision and a dream, and before you know it, you have to change that journey because like a pandemic or what feedback you're getting. And I find some entrepreneurs aren't able to do that
all the time. Of course. And there is a balance between listening to somebody and their feedback and believing in your vision. And I think not everybody's opinion is equal. So if you're in health tech and you're on a health tech accelerator, right? And the person running that accelerator, who is an expert in this field, is telling you X, Y, and Z, it's probably worth listening to what they've got to say because they have a deep understanding of what you're doing. If someone that you're pitching to randomly at a networking event or wherever else is giving you feedback, listen to it, but at the same time, take it with a pinch of salt. I remember the first time we had to pivot. So this is sort of 4 years ago now. We had a bit of tech in the insurance game that we were innovating, and we built clothing to health risk technology for the insurance industry. So if we knew you were wearing Tommy Hilfiger and a medium, we could calculate BMI and waist height ratio with 85% accuracy. So that these big companies with lots of staff in uniform, we could help highlight the health risk of these companies. For maybe 3-4 months, we were told that this bit of tech was going to change the game for health insurance for big companies, particularly in the US, right? So we were working with the Reinsurance Group of America. They were talking about investing a big ticket in us, and they sent us to about 38 countries. We made this video and all this material, and they were like, if a reasonable amount of these companies come back positive, we're going to write the ticket and we're going to plug you in and scale you. Like, this was the moment for us. All the feedback that we'd had leading up to that week was that Australia liked it. I can't remember who else, but somebody else liked it. We thought it was in the bag. We were literally on the beach in Spain on vacation, me and my co-founder. We had a bottle of wine on the beach. We were having a great time. Call came through, and it was the call we didn't want, right? It was the call that basically said, this is it's basically too young. Again, the data, they needed to prove the data for a period of 4 years to make sure it was significant for insurance. And all of a sudden, your world comes crashing down because you realize we've got 3 months worth of runway left. where else is this tech applicable? You know, we're kind of scrambling around. We're thinking, okay, school uniforms, you know, can we help highlight the obesity issue in kids across the country? You know, government didn't want to play ball. We're like, no. So we find another sector, and, you know, you kind of scrambling around, and then you land on something that has potential, you know, and you have to run with it. You know, momentum is king in this game. You know, if you sit down with somebody who you haven't had a coffee with for a couple of months, and you're sitting down and you've got nothing new to say to them, you have a massive problem. So I think, you know, momentum in whichever form it comes is probably the most vital currency for a young startup.
So if you enjoy this content, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We'll be creating weekly business boardroom conversations just like this.